A boy and a dog found themselves stranded on a deserted island. The problem? There was nothing on the island. How would they survive? Luckily, there were still some supplies on the boat. Hungry for ages, Big Yellow stared eagerly at what the boy held in his hands. But when they opened the box, it was just a pile of matches. Big Yellow looked disappointed. He could only hope the next box had something better. And this time biscuits, but they had been sitting there too long. Moldy, inedible. One by one, they opened every box, only to find nothing useful. Big Yellow hung his head in despair. To survive, the boy headed to the shore in search of food. Luck was on his side, managed to catch a fish with a hook. And finally, the matches came in handy. After everything they had been through, they were exhausted and starving. Their stomachs growled as they waited for the fish to cook. That first meal barely got them through the night. The next morning, a well-fed Big Yellow was full of energy. He used his little paws to help dig up some clams. With their food problem solved, they found ways to entertain themselves, playing by the shore while waiting for rescue. What they didn't know, this island was massive, and the search and rescue efforts were proving difficult. Days passed, not even the shadow of a rescue plane. Staring at the tally marks carved into a stick, the boy made a bold decision. He tore apart the only thing that could get them off this island, the boat. He stacked up the wood, ready to light it up. If a rescue plane flew overhead, the fire would make sure they were seen. Not long after the distant roar of an airplane, the boy sprinted to the pile. Fumbling with his matches, the first match blown out by the sea wind, he quickly struck another, but just as the flame flickered to life, the plane had already flown past. The boy looked up in despair. Would it turn back? He waited, watching, hoping, until the last plane burned to ash, and the plane never returned. The following days were even tougher. No more fish, only a handful of matches left. The boy knew they couldn't stay put any longer. He gathered whatever supplies he could, left a sign for the rescuers, and set off with Big Yellow toward the island's depths. But fate had a cruel sense of humor. Just as they reached a valley, the same plane, low on fuel, flew back overhead. The boy screamed for help, but the roaring waves swallowed his voice whole. Once again, rescue was just within reach, only to slip away from the sky. The boy's father frantically searched for his son. On the ground, the boy watched helplessly as the plane disappeared. He collapsed, sobbing, holding Big Yellow tightly in his arms.